When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gane, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I am here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gane.
And today we're going to kind of continue on from last week a little bit. We started to get a little bit into opinions, and so we're going to talk about the role opinions play in manifesting, if they have a role, what it is.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I like this topic because it's we are as human, and I know Jenny will say about this, but like we want to give our opinion. I was once talking to an editor. She's like, "I have opinions about books." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And this is an interesting topic too, because while we are we've already been programmed, we are in a place in society where I think there's so much outside influence of opinions. Everyone wants your opinion on write a Google review. You called someone one time, write a Google review. You did this. I haven't even helped you yet, but I want to know at the end of the phone call, will you give a review? Mm-hmm. And there's entire systems, set up for this. My car guy, who is more than happy to write a review for, because he's amazing and I've been using him for 20 years. But there was an automated, hey, was everything okay? And you text back yes. And then you get the thing okay, can you leave us a review? And and I knew, as a business person, I'm oh, this is a service he paid for. This is automatic. He's not sitting in his office texting me instead of fixing cars,
This is interesting because it's making me, I wasn't planning to go this way with it, but opinions have weight in our society. Mm-hmm. Opinions have been given a role,
Yeah. And I think when you're unaware, you can put a lot into those opinions. Yes. When you haven't decided if you don't even know. You don't know if that is somebody who believes in the law of attraction, is living their truth, loving their life, or if that is someone just sitting behind a computer hating everything going on.
So true.
Yeah. Right?
So true, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we get too much into it, Cass, what are you excited about?
I'm excited about renting out our pool.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. My sister, she saw this article about somebody who rented their pool in Colorado last year, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And so it was really cool to read and figure out oh yeah, that's a thing. And it's just been really fun. And I was telling one of my clients about it, and she's like, of course there is. And she does a lot of Airbnb, and they rent campers, and she's like, of course there is. And she's like, and it's perfect because you love your pool, so of course you want to share it.
Yes.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
And the energy behind that, people want to go to a pool that has the energy of being loved. I know that is taking it farther, but that's the law of attraction right there. This vibration plays a very important role in things like this.
Totally. And it fits so into me because I love my pool, but I also feel I want it to get used, and I want to
I also love making money doing that.
I was going to say, and I love making money. I love making money doing what I love. So this is just another way I've created that in my life.
Oh, that's such a cool manifestation of that for you. Yeah, that fits so perfectly in.
Yeah, so it's super fun. What are you excited about?
I'm excited about the space that I'm feeling in my life right now. So Lisa and I have decided to actually take a break from the pregnancy trying. And as you guys know, I've been finding it interesting to find the place of balance between not trying and having to take action.
Right?
Right, yeah, because like it's something that I haven't, like with so many other manifesting things, you can just do what you love, but in my head there was no other way to get pregnant other than taking these actions. And so it's feeling really great. We're feeling really good about it. We feel the space. We're opening up to different ways and alternatives, and we trust that because of how it feels. And so it feels so powerful, and like I feel so appreciative for my awareness on this path. It has made this journey so much more, like, it's a funny word, but like valuable to me, but just good to me. It's because I understand what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, space feels exciting right now.
I'm excited for that for you.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. There's already so many good signs coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So opinions.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this first, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Go for it.
Do you think opinions are like our nature as humans?
I think we're trained into opinions.
I agree.
Yeah. I think we're trained into, I think there's probably some nature, because I just had a flash, like we don't want anyone not feeling anything, but I don't know if that's what it would be without opinions.
Well,
we're trained into it. Oh, we're trained into it because we're really trained in thinking instead of feeling. And an opinion is forming a thought. And so we're very much trained to have an opinion, right? And it's not like, does this feel good or does this not? It's, do you like this? Do you not? What's right with this? What's wrong with this?
Actually, is there a difference there, do you think, Cass, between an opinion being something that is saying this is right or this is wrong versus I like this or I don't like this? Would you consider
I think they're different. So if I'm really, and I've thought a lot about this, but not so much as it's gelling right now, is that, you know, I think an opinion, we're almost taught to justify. It's our thinking. It isn't just a plain, do I like this, yes or no? Like, do I like an apple? Do I like apples? No. Do I like crab? Yes. Like, whatever. It's not just that. Like, our opinion is really coming up with a reason, I think, too. And I think we're really trained to that.
Yeah. How I would describe opinions is the same. Like, an opinion comes with a judgment of right or wrong. Even if sometimes we don't think this, and this might be a great place for you guys who are listening to explore this in yourself. Like, when I have this thought, am I associating any sort of right or wrong with that? Or, because I would term the other side of it just a preference. Like, oh, I like this or I don't. Isn't an opinion. It's like more of just, this is a preference. This is good for me. I like this. Versus an opinion carries some sort of right or wrong for anyone. It's not that, you know, my preference is apples over oranges. Actually, that's not right. My preference is oranges over apples. but apples are not wrong in any way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're just taught sometimes, like, I'm having flashbacks to school where, like, you have to explain. You can't just say, like, I like oranges better than apples.
I know. Why?
Right? Why? Like, and sometimes I even catch this sometimes with my kid where, like, I might say that about something and I'm like, doesn't matter. I was like, never mind. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to take what you said. And so sometimes I think it is to learn more about someone. Right? It is like this innate need to connect, but we've kind of been trained to connect in that way. Instead of like, oh, cool, I like them better, and asking something different. Like, have you ever picked oranges? Or do you also like orange juice? Where instead of, in a way, going deeper, we're sort of trying to figure out something.
Wait, are you saying that when you have an opinion, you're trying to figure out something?
Well, when we're seeking, I think sometimes we seek opinions. We're also trained to
Right.
seek opinions from other people instead of
Yes.
and we're trying to get connection, right? So seeking opinion is an example of when I'm like, oh, if I asked my kid if that was his answer, which by the way, his answer would change every other week. Oh, why is an orange your favorite, right? And so I'm trying to elicit an opinion instead of saying like, oh, I love that too. Have you ever picked oranges? Do you know how oranges grow? Where we can have this deeper conversation and connection that is outside of an opinion.
Yes. And you're so right in terms of we think, or we're trained to understand someone else's opinion for some reason. I mean, I think
Right.
it's because we have been taught to value something outside of us more than our own. You know, we can go into this whole topic, but
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk a little bit more about like how it plays, how opinions have this role in manifesting.
Oh. So this keeps coming up, so I'm going to share this because it might be a good jumping off point. I got interviewed a couple weeks ago, and this guy said, you know, your book Manifest 10,000. What were the reviews like on that? And I said, oh. I said, let me tell you, there is one that is like a 1-star, and this review says, you know, I do believe that we have limiting beliefs that are stuck. And basically she went against, like, she didn't agree with anything in my book about how you could just leave, you know. And I said, and then there's people who've manifested $10,000 and they think it's great. And I said, and all of them are right. And it just proves my point. And so I forgot what your question was exactly, but
The role of opinions.
oh, in manifesting.
Yeah.
Is that we get to choose what they mean. And we get to choose if someone else gives us an opinion, what it means. And we can embrace it, like, or resist it, right? Or make it neutral. And we can, I think for us, as the role of manifesting is to catch ourselves when we're in opinion and shift it to, I like this, I don't. I want more of this, I don't want more of this. Instead of the explanation of why we have that opinion.
Yeah. It's almost like when we are sharing our opinion, and if it does have something to do with being right, and then we're justifying that. Cass and I have talked about before how justifying something is keeping you there. So even if it's like I'm doing really well in my business and then we have to justify why instead of just owning the truth, right? So I think I lost my track.
No,
of
you
that.
got it. So justifying, like, what it has to do with manifesting is that we can start to move away from opinions
Yes.
into, I don't know, we can call it like it or love it or preferences. Thank you, the word you used in the beginning. We can move in manifesting towards preferences, because what you were saying is, when we're justifying something, we're staying there. And if we can move to this space of, look, I just prefer this. There's no argument. We're just owning what we want, and we don't have to justify it. And when we're not justifying it, we're not pushing against it.
Yeah, and when you share an opinion and you're saying this is right, you're at the same time saying something else is wrong, and that there's resistance in there. So it's kind of like, in the way I say it, you know, you're activating both sides of the equation or both sides of the stick. You know, you're pushing against and you're activating what you want so you don't go anywhere. And so moving towards preferences is going to help you be more powerful in your manifesting.
Yes. Because when you look at it as like, there's no justification. I just like this better. I just like the beach more than the woods. I just like green rather than pink. I just like it better, right? And so when you're not looking for those reasons to justify, and this ties a little bit back into our episode last week, but, you know, if we have to justify, we get stuck because we're looking for reasons to justify. And that blocks that flow of, well, maybe I do like pink today better instead of green.
Yeah.
And these like seem like simple things, but I think sometimes we have to take it down to that simple, like everything can be, everything you want can be as simple as, do I like pink or green better?
I know.
What do I want more of? Right?
It can be
What do I
so
want more
simple.
of?
Do I like this thought, or is this a good thought? Like, does this thought feel good to me, or doesn't? So simple.
Yes. So simple.
What about, I want to touch on for a second, because we're human and we're here to connect and share, what about the idea of gathering information from other people's opinions and that experience? So being able to share our opinion on something. I remember when I was first getting into this work and understanding opinions and then feeling like I shouldn't have any opinions because they're nobody else's business and it doesn't matter and they're taking me out of alignment. And then I would find it sometimes hard in conversation to share about topics that were happening because it was all this opinion and then this opinion and then this opinion. What would you say?
Ask the question again, because I think on my end you cut out a bit.
Okay, so when our focus isn't to share opinions, what's the best way to connect with others because often conversations are just about sharing opinions about whatever's happening in the world. I think this, well, I think this, or...
Yes.
Yeah.
Which keeps us, I will say, very surface. So it's that deeper connection, and it goes back to, I'll bring it into an adult example, but it's very similar to what I was talking about with my kid, right? Not asking, why do you like oranges better? But expanding it. Oh, would you ever want to go if we could go on a trip? I've picked apples. Would you want to pick apples or oranges? Yeah. Really going into experience. So some of these topics that come up that, where everybody has an opinion, you can get into more experience, right? I hear that, like, have you ever had an experience with that?
Oh yeah, all the time. Oh, I thought you were asking me.
I love that. Yeah, I love that you said that. But yeah, so any sort of like hot topic or thing that's in the news and people just want to talk about and share their opinions, move them into this space of, oh, what's your experience of that? Oh, like, so if someone is...
curious.
Yeah, get curious. Let's say if anyone has ever, this was one of my favorites actually, when people would say things about people experiencing homelessness. I would say, I read this book my freshman year in college called Tell Me Who I Am. And it is all these stories of people who ended up experiencing homelessness who were not what people would think. Right? There's not what the opinion. And so I will always go like, oh, have you ever read that? I was reading about this story, like, and this person, like, this is what happened. Like, I'm going to use a really brave example. Probably this isn't something that people would do, but like, oh, do you have 6 months of savings in your account? So like, if anything like that ever happened, like, would you be okay?
You'd be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, would that, like, do you think, or what would you do? What would your safety net be if this happened to you? Right? Because then it's not about, oh, somebody shouldn't be standing on the corner, which is an opinion. It's really gives this opportunity to connect and experience. And I think I don't want to give the impression that it's trying to make people wrong. I'm trying to come up with another example too, because that might feel, but it's not. It's, oh, like, I don't have to give my opinion and justify it. I could ask you to have a deeper conversation about the experience. Like, oh, well, have you ever like gotten laid off or lost your job and like you really weren't expecting it? Like, what did you do? Like, what I like, this is what I would do if that happened tomorrow. But like, what would you do? I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to hear about the path that you would take for that. Right? Go ahead.
I just love this opportunity to go deeper with the people closest to us. I mean, obviously we might not be having these conversations with total strangers, but to be able to open up this space to go deeper than just sharing opinions with their circle of friends or family, and go into the experience, the different possible experiences versus what the thoughts are about whatever experience you're talking about.
Yeah. And this is one of the things I hear underlying for people who are stepping into LOA, or they're manifesting, they're working on their choosing their thoughts, is then you start to crave this deeper connection. Mm-hmm. And so if that's you, this is one of the ways you can get that, right? Because I get the question, I feel like a lot, like, how do I navigate if everybody's just saying negative things I don't want? Well, What that comes down to is a lot of what we're talking about today. If you've had that thought, it's a lot of probably opinions, right? And so you get to be a leader and deepen the conversation and deepen the experience. Mm-hmm.
And it's just that you brought that up. It's very important that you're coming from that place of like actual interest or curiosity versus trying to get them to stop talking about their opinions. Like it's slightly different, but they'll feel the difference coming from you and like your interest in their experience versus this is a stupid conversation, let's change it. Yeah
Absolutely. And I've had this experience with people in my life where I have learned, and I'm like, oh, you think that? And they were like,
yeah,
yes. And I was like, that gives me a little bit more permission to explore differently. Even, for me, I can look at things a little differently because I didn't expect that answer from somebody else, especially when we start to sometimes, and this happens, we have to be aware and dive deeper. Sometimes we expect certain answers from certain people, and it's those different answers that evolve us because they push us to look at things differently. Maybe not change, but just to be more open. And that is what we want as manifestors. Like, that's the role, like, opinions and preferences play, is that there is this opportunity to open us up wider.
Yeah. And it is even as important as the people you think you know in your life because you have changed and they have changed. So there's always new levels, and we do tend to kind of take an idea about someone and then place it in our mind about who they are, but opening up to how those opinions might not be accurate anymore. And these questions of exploring their experience, that's the path to be able to have that. Yeah.
It is. And I think, if you have any like, oh, I don't think this would go good type of thing, go back and listen to beginning, because it won't go good if you give a new opinion or you tell someone else how to think. But if you really listen to sort of what we've gone through in this episode and you come from that tapping into their experience, asking about their experience or their preference, right? Which is that deepening, you'd be surprised what will open.
Oh, it's exciting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, happy manifesting, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Hi, it's Cassie. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Manifest It Now. I hope you're ready to go out and be extra awesome. If you're looking for more resources, support, ways to engage with LOA or shift your money mindset, you can go to CassieParks.com. That's CassieParks.com and click on complimentary, like cocktails, coaching. Go to CassieParks.com and click on complimentary coaching for more in-depth into LOA, how to shift your money mindset, how to identify your money story, and even more to help you go be even more awesome. CassieParks.com, complimentary coaching.
Go be awesome! Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.